Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for being here. I'm Sandra, a registered dietitian and owner of Nutrition Bites, a private nutrition practice based in the Niagara region, serving clients in person and virtually across Ontario. Now, before we dive in, I want to set the tone for the next 25 minutes or so. This video is for anyone who's ever been curious about what a dietitian actually does, whether you thought about booking an appointment, weren't sure if you qualified, maybe somebody suggested that you should see one, and not really sure what that means, or whether you landed here because you had some questions about nutrition and didn't know where to start. This is not a sales pitch. I genuinely want this to be useful to you, whether or not you ever book with me or another dietitian. My goal today is simply to help you understand what dietitians do, when it might make sense to see one, and what the experience actually looks like, because I think a lot of people don't have a clear picture on that, and I'd love to change that. So let's get into it. So I want to start by addressing the thing I hear most often when I tell people I do for a living. And it usually goes something like this. Oh, can you make me a meal plan? Oh, so you help people lose weight. Or I don't have diabetes, so I probably don't need to see you. And I completely understand why people think that. For the longest time, dietitians were visible in hospital settings mainly, managing very specific medical conditions. And weight and diabetes were two of those most common. So that association makes sense. And of course, nutrition is associated with food. So of course, when people think food, they think of what am I going to eat? This all totally makes sense. But the reality is that the scope of what dietitians do has grown enormously over the decades. And what we do in private practice especially looks very different from that image. So dietitians work with people across every life stage, every health concern, and honestly, every level of seriousness based on, if you want to actually get some extra nutrition information before a health event happens. You do not need to have a diagnosis. You don't have to be in a health crisis, and you absolutely do not have to be struggling with your weight to benefit from seeing a dietitian. We work with people who just want to feel better, people who are overwhelmed with conflicting online information, people who have maybe been told that their blood work is a little off and aren't sure what to do. And yes, we still also can help people with medical conditions who need more targeted support. All of that is within our scope. And I want to show you how wide that scope is. So let me walk you through some of the most common reasons people see a dietitian. As I go through the list, I want you to notice if anything resonates, because chances are something will. Okay, so meal planning and meal prep. This is one of the biggest ones. A lot of people I know, generally, they know what they should be eating. But the gap between knowing and actually doing it consistently with a busy schedule, a family, a budget, and real food preferences is huge. Dietitians help you close that gap with practical, realistic strategies. Gut health and digestive health. If you're dealing with symptoms like bloating, constipation, diarrhea, or discomfort after eating, that's absolutely something a dietitian works with. This includes IBS and a range of other digestive conditions where food plays a central role. Blood sugar and metabolic health. This is a big one that goes well beyond diagnosed diabetes. We work with people who have prediabetes, people whose fasting glucose or A1C has come back slightly elevated, people with insulin resistance, and people managing type 1 and 2 diabetes. We also work with people who are experiencing energy crashes, sugar cravings, or reactive hypoglycemia. That feeling of hitting a wall a couple hours after eating. Heart health and cholesterol. If you've been told your LDL is high, your triglycerides are elevated, or your blood pressure is creeping up, nutrition has a significant role to play, and a dietitian can help you understand what that looks like in a way that fits your life. Hormonal health. This includes things like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, thyroid conditions, perimenopause and menopause, and fertility nutrition. These are areas where the right nutritional support can make a meaningful difference. Kidney health. For people with chronic kidney disease or a history of kidney stones, what you eat matters enormously, and the guidance is specific enough that you really do need someone with clinical training to help you navigate it. Relationship with food and eating patterns. Not every reason to see a dietitian is about a lab value or a diagnosis. If you feel like you have a complicated relationship with food, whether that shows up as restriction, overeating, emotional eating, chronic dieting, or just a lot of stress and guilt around what you eat, a dietitian who specializes in this area can be a really important part of your support team. Cancer nutrition. Both during and after treatment, nutrition plays a role in supporting energy, managing side effects, and recovery. This is a specialized area, but absolutely within our scope. Sports and performance. If you're an athlete, recreational or competitive, and you want to optimize how you fuel your training and recovery, dietitians work with this too. General wellness and navigating the noise. Finally, maybe you don't have a specific condition. Maybe you're just tired of feeling confused by everything you read. One week, carbs are the enemy. The next week, fat is back. And now apparently you need to time your proteins to the minute. A dietitian can help you cut through all that and figure out what actually applies to you. So as you can see, the reasons people come to us are really varied. And that range is part of why I love the work that we do. Now, you might be wondering, can I get this information from a nutritionist or from my personal trainer? Or, you know what? How about a really good Google search or AI? And I want to answer that honestly, because I think that's a fair question. Dietitians in Canada are regulated health professionals. That means we have a protected title, we're governed by a college, we have professional accountability, and we carry liability insurance. We complete a university degree in nutrition, followed by a supervised practicum/internship, similar to how other regulated health professionals are trained. To use the title Registered Dietitian, you have to meet those standards. Nutritionist is not protected title in most provinces in Canada, which means anyone can use it, regardless of their training or background. That doesn't mean everyone using the title isn't knowledgeable or helpful, but it does mean the level of training and accountability varies significantly. What this means practically for you is that dietitians are qualified to provide medical nutrition therapy, which is a clinical term for the use of specific nutrition interventions to manage or treat health conditions. We work alongside your physician, your pharmacist, your gastroenterologist, your endocrinologist. We're part of your care team, and food and nutrition is our lane. We can take the information from your blood work, your health history, your medications, and your lifestyle and translate that into something personalized and actionable. That's different from general wellness advice, and it's different from what you'll get from a search engine, no matter how good the article is. Now, what to expect when you book an appointment and you see a dietitian. Let's say you're curious. I want to walk you through this because I think a lot of people have a mental image that doesn't quite match reality. They imagine someone holding them a meal plan that's telling them everything they're doing wrong. That's not what this looks like. It starts with an assessment. And when I say assessment, I don't just mean tell me what you eat in a day. A good dietitian assessment looks at your full health picture, your medical history, your current medications and supplements, your lab results if you have them, your digestion and energy levels, your sleep, your stress, how food fits into your daily routine, your cooking confidence, your budget, your preferences, your cultural background, and your goals. It's comprehensive because nutrition doesn't exist in a vacuum. From there, the work is genuinely personalized. You will not receive a generic handout. You will not be told just eat more vegetables and less processed food. The recommendations you will get will be built around your actual life, what's realistic, what's sustainable, and what's going to make a difference for your specific situation. It's a process, not a one-time fix. This is something I really want people to hear. Changing how you eat is not something that happens in a single appointment. Most people work with a dietitian over a series of appointments. The number varies depending upon what you're working on, but it's typically several sessions over a few months. That's not because we're drawing it out. It's because meaningful, lasting change takes time. We don't expect perfection, and we don't expect you to overhaul your life overnight. We build from where you are. We balance education with behavior support. Part of what we do is filling the gaps in your knowledge, helping you understand why certain things matter for your health, not just what to do. But just as the important is behavior side, helping you figure out how to actually do it and what gets in the way. Pretty good at being investigators to find out that. That might look like problem solving around a busy schedule, working through the emotional side of eating, or just helping you build habits one step at a time. We work as part of your care team. If you have a family doctor, a specialist, or other healthcare providers involved in your care, your dietitian can communicate with them with your consent so that everyone is working towards the same goals. We bring the nutrition expertise to the table and we integrate it with the rest of your care. And practically speaking, many dietitian appointments are now available virtually, which means you don't have to live in any particular city to access this kind of support. Many extended health benefits cover registered dietitian services, and some conditions may apply for coverage through other programs. It's worth checking out your plan. So, when is it time to see a dietitian? We know that you don't need to have a diagnosis. You don't need to be in a crisis. You don't need to have tried everything else first. A good first step is simply having a conversation. So I want to close this because I know a lot of people have been sitting with a question for a while and just haven't acted on it. Maybe you've been thinking about it, but weren't sure if your concerns were big enough. Maybe you've been told yourself you'll figure it out on your own. Maybe you've tried a few things and nothing has stuck. Maybe your doctor mentioned something at your last visit and you weren't sure what to do with it. Here's what I'd say. If food and nutrition are taking up space in your head, whether that's because you're confused, frustrated, tired, or just ready for some real support, that's reason enough. You don't have to be at a crisis point. You don't have to have tried everything else first. And you don't have to fit a certain profile or have a certain diagnosis. If you're curious about whether working with a dietitian might help you, it very likely could. And a good first step is simply having a conversation. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope this gave you a clear picture of what we do and how we might be able to support you. I welcome any questions and I hope you the best of health in your journey.